sure I can hear over here. Let's see. You'll close that door? Let's see. Okay, yeah, it's working. All right, so we're gonna see. All right, guys, somebody does not want me to talk. All right, so let's see what's going on. My name is Ari, the Healing Empress, aka the Fly Goddess. All right, and I'm gonna read if you are interested in a personal read. All right, they are 2020 at this time. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, crown one. All right, I honor myself as chosen, worthy, and set apart. All right, self respect, confidence, and sacred standards are divine identity. You are not simple for every place. All right, you are not simply for every place. You are not too much. All right, so Spirit wants you to know that you are not too much in any situation. Okay, let's see. Tell me about this job. All right, tell me about this job. All right, is this job secure? All right, so this job seems secure when it comes to you filing that. All right, winning at all costs. There could be some sort of conflict, or somebody tried to cause some sort of conflict, but I don't see where that will have anything to do with you filing any type of bankruptcy, where that will affect anything. All right, moving forward, moving on, progress, potential growth. All right, community. Something is getting ready to happen in the distant future. It has something to do with your long-term vision. All right, investments. All right, beware of people who are competing against you, who are challenging you. All right, let's see. Tell me about this job situation, job and money. All right, so Spirit is saying stay away from lustful things at this time. All right, use your third. Spirit is wanting you to use your third eye. Spirit is wanting you to use your intuition. All right, material comfort is here, emotional fulfillment. So you could be getting ready to receive something. All right, and Spirit is asking you to use your discernment. All right, use whatever this is wisely. Third eye is here. All right. Priestess keeps popping out of the deck. All right, somebody could be trying to destroy something around you. Somebody's trying to destroy your intuition. All right, let's see. Somebody doesn't want you to think for yourself. Voodoo is here. All right, so somebody doesn't want you to think for yourself. Somebody doesn't want you to trust your knowledge. All right, manifestation here, creativity and self-confidence. All right, somebody doesn't want you to trust yourself. All right, somebody wants you to follow um, lustful ways. Like, okay, so when I keep hearing lustful, it doesn't necessarily have to mean sexual. All right, it's material gain. Anything in the material world. All right. Chariot is here. Willpower, direction, moving forward, control. Spirit is asking you to have more control over. I'm hearing your thoughts. I'm hearing your thoughts. All right, let's see. Because that will shape how your finances look and how your career looks. All right, but there's a pathway that is opening up. All right, so where you felt like it was a drought, there's some sort of opportunity coming towards you. I got houses here as well. You could be moving. All right. That could have something to do with a financial increase. All right. Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna use these. All right. Let's see. Ooh. All right, so there's a door opening. There's an opportunity that is becoming available for you. All right, so this is a new opportunity. All right, so this could be a new career as well, or this could just be a promotion within the job. All right, but there's a new offer, some sort of opportunity coming your way, a proposal, an offer, a serious one is on the way or on the table. All right, so it's things are getting ready to be better for you. Then I got side hustle here, an additional income stream available. So you may be doing something on the side as well. You could be going into business for yourself, or spirit is leading you to go into business for yourself. All right. False promises. Someone is overselling and misleading. All right. So be careful of somebody amping up whatever this is that somebody's trying to get you to buy. All right. Spirit is saying use your discernment. Warning. All right. Power play, ego, control, dominance issues. Somebody wants some sort of dominance over a situation. So I'm hearing keeping your career and finance opportunities to yourself. All right, keep your thoughts to yourself. I got money, financial flow, royal inheritance. So it's something that's supposed to come towards you. That is coming. All right. This is something that you were waiting on, some sort of financial increase, and it says aligned. Yes. So whatever this is aligned for your path. All right. This opportunity is for you. Money could have been slow and steady, but something could be picking up. All right. And then it has overflow, abundance increase. All right. Boss energy, leadership, authority, entrepreneurship is here as well. All right. CEO energy. All right, step fully into your authority. All right, so you're getting ready to step fully into your authority. You could be jumping into a leadership role. All right, there's some sort of partnership deal and collaboration opportunity getting ready to happen for you. Like I said, money could have been slow. Financial growth is steady, not instant, but you've been seeing some sort of outcome. But things are getting ready to look up in a better way for you. All right, there's a second chance at some sort of opportunity. An old opportunity is returning itself. All right, and this could bring in some sort of financial blessing as well. Spirit is telling you to use your discernment. All right, Spirit is telling you to use your discernment. There are strings attached to this offer. All right, this offer comes with hidden expectations. Now, I don't think that there's so much hidden. I believe that whatever, this is something good. It's like somebody's wanting to give you more, but it's like they're gradually giving you more. All right. Spirit is saying trust your gut. Your intuition already knows. Negotiation table. All right, so these terms can be negotiable. All right, and I just feel like whatever you negotiate is whatever you're gonna get with ease. All right, when it comes to a contract, some sort of agreement, and some sort of business deal. All right, negotiation came out again. So Spirit is wanting you. So basically, you have the power to shape whatever it is that you want. All right, whatever that you're wanting for yourself, write a letter. All right, write a letter to God and your ancestors, and thanking God for whatever has already took place in your life. All right, the seen and the unseen, and then let God know what it is that you want for your life. All right, and then take a picture of it and set that shit on fire and know that God is going to grant all of your wishes, all right? Because if you are doing the necessary work in order to clear out all the things around you that do not match your path, it's easy for God to place these things into your life. All right, divine alignment. This opportunity is tied to purpose. The the resume presentation. Also, the resume presentation presentation matters, polishing your image. All right, it's something that spirit wants you to work on. All right, maybe you feel like it's something that you need to work on when it comes to self. All right, that will bleed over into your career and finance. All right, usually when you have more confidence within yourself, things will work out better for you when it comes to career and finance. All right, misaligned opportunity. Not every door open is for you. Know that. Just like all money ain't good money, and this is why spirit is asking you to use your discernment. All right, there's some sort of invitation coming towards you. You're being asked to participate or collaborate in something, securing the bag. All right, take the opportunity serious and more wisely because something great is getting ready to happen for you. Okay, let's see. Some sort of binding agreement. All right, a commitment that carries weight, a major offer with high rewards and potential. All right, so you got a nice ass offer coming your way. All right, and this may be coming because you rejected something that you did not want. All right, or you rejected something that you know that was not for you. All right, expansion, and now you're getting ready to grow. All right, so you're getting ready to grow in a larger space, a larger role, or if you are on a platform, something's growing with a platform. Okay, and pay attention to false promises as well. All right, don't allow anybody to breadcrumb you or give you bullshit. All right, let's see. Let's see if I'm gonna pull the other one. All right, it says wait for the reveal. All right, so there's more that's getting ready to be shown about a situation. All right, Spirit saying you're gonna find out what you need right when you're needing to. All right, illusion versus illusion. All right, wishful thinking. Ooh, excuse me, wanting it badly, but does not make it right. All right, so it could be something that you're wanting bad, but that doesn't mean that you need it. Is what I'm hearing. All right, so Spirit is giving you what you need. All right, discernment is a gift. All right, discernment is a gift. Your ability to sense the truth is sacred. All right, so know that that's a very special thing that you carry. The story you've been telling yourself. Separate the facts from the narrative. All right, so it's something that you need to be departing from or separating yourself from. All right, I don't want to say kind of because I feel like you know what it is. Decisions and crossroads. So yeah, walk away. Not all choices are meant to be fixed. All right, so some people, you got a lot of people that's coming back towards you. All right, and these are people that you haven't seen in a long time, you haven't talked to in a long time. These people feel like they have to come back towards you and tell you something. All right, to get in your energy in some type of way. That's because they know that you got a breakthrough coming. All right, so pay attention to the red flags. All right, boundary tests. Something is seeing how far it can go with you. Damn, that's crazy. I just said before I even flip that car over, how is people gonna come back your way? All right, because they know you got greatness all over you and they want to be a part of it. They know that they fumbled you because you was hidden in plain sight, and now these people are trying to come towards you. It's a fuck no. It's definitely a fuck no. All right, because things are getting ready to expand in your life. You're getting ready to start building a lot of things, and people gonna want to have their motherfucking hand out, and that's a no go. Damn, and the card before I flipped over, it's an easy no. I should have put it's an easy fuck no, but it's an easy no. All right, you don't need dramatic reasons to decline. It's fuck no, absolutely. All right, not safe. Your spirit is asking you not to proceed. You're following your intuition when it comes to people. All right, you're following your intuition when it comes to people. You're seeing all of the red flags. You're seeing that these people aren't safe. All right, spiritual bypass. Not everything should be love and light. Sometimes you gotta cuss a bitch out, or sometimes you gotta tell somebody how it is. All right, before you move forward. All right, there is an energy. The energy is opening enough for you to move forward. You're moving past these past people. All right, let's see. You already know. Okay, so stop asking for signs or stop asking for answers when you know what it is. All right, so it's something that you can know about, and you could be questioning yourself over and over again. And spirit, like, you already know. Okay, so spirit is wanting you to use your intuition a lot more when it comes to that. All right, so let's see. Inner voice. Yeah, there's an inner voice that is speaking to you. All right, and that's your higher self. Lower the outside noise and hear yourself clearly. So when you're in isolation, you hear yourself. Walk away. Not all choices are meant to be fixed. Again, there's a lot of people that's trying to come back your way. You got a lot of people watching you. All right. I'm hearing career switch. Career switch. See it as it is. Your healing may require honesty after comfort. Projection. Be careful not to place your hope where there's no evidence. All right. An illusion versus reality. And then I got fantasy versus facts. You may be attached to what could be and not what is. So make sure your dreams still make sense. All right. Emotional attachment. Attachment may be clouding your judgment. So you could have somebody around you, people that are not allowing you to succeed. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Truth requires action. Once you know, you must act accordingly. All right, so when it comes to people around you, when it comes to people that you are attached to, you got to be aware of the people that you associate yourself with, because they may be okay, but the people that they hang with are not okay. So it's like transferring energy. All right, so you got to be careful who you're around too, because that'll fuck up certain business decisions when it comes to your life. All right, because when it comes to energy, there's karma. Like, say you got a friend who spirit know you will help if they get caught up in some bullshit. You're gonna help them, all right? Or there's somebody who's gonna need something and you'll be willing to give it to them. But these people are serving karma, all right? A lot of people don't serve karma because you are still around these people. All right, so you don't want to carry these people's karma, and you got to clear their shit before you can have what's yours. So you got to go ahead and just eliminate the bullshit when you see it. All right, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna use these. Yeah. All right, Spirit, tell me about this business. Tell me about these career and finances. Discipline and strategy. All right, so with great rewards comes discipline and strategy. All right, so you've been going through a lot of tests. All right, before God is getting ready to bless you with something that you need when it comes to business, finance, all right, and career. Before completion, a new cycle begins. All right, so there's some sort of cycle that's beginning. All right, so you're walking in some sort of new light. Let's see. Coming together, community power. You could be collaborating with somebody, all right, and it has everything to do with the lessons that you've learned, all right. This is a renewal, rebirth, all right. Something is returning, some sort of opportunity. It wasn't missed. It was just you wasn't aligned with it at the time, all right. And now you're aligned with this opportunity. It could have been difficult at the beginning, chaos, but now something is growing. All right. You could have felt trapped, or you could feel trapped, but something is getting ready to be released. All right, so that you can have peace and harmony. Spirit is saying treading careful. All right, careful steps. Pay attention to every step that you make. All right. Something that's getting ready to happen is going to have you in some sort of emotional state, but it's going to be good. All right. I'm hearing tears of joy. There's a breakthrough that's getting ready to happen for you. All right. It's almost like you're waiting patiently for movement, and it's getting ready to happen. Just continue to keep going with the flow of life, and things are getting ready to take off for you. All right. Feminine energy, receptive support. All right. And then you have after completion, cycle finished. All right, so you have to finish a certain cycle in order to gain some sort of understanding so that you can walk into your next level, which is this major upgrade. Small ponderance, all right, small actions matter. All right, you had to you had to change some small things here and there. All right, but your intentions are pure. I got innocence here. All right, so you got pure intentions when it comes to the things that you're trying to do. And there's an opportunity coming, approach. All right, but you had to separate yourself from the people around you because God don't want to bless you, and you bless the people that are receiving karma. All right. Let's see. Great taming, conflict, disagreements. All right. Great strength, great power rising. All right. Something is moving forward, or definitely leveling itself out. But there's some sort of reward that comes with it. All right. Great deliverance. Deliverance, freedom is here, and this is all because you chose to let certain things go. All right. Let's see. Got one more card deck here. Holding together. You're definitely getting ready to come together with something or someone. All right, Cobra Crown. I wear my power boldly, protect my sacred space fiercely. All right, and this talks about fierce feminine energy. All right, spiritual authority, boundaries, awakening power. You are being called to stop dimming your light. All right, protection is not harshness, it's wisdom. All right, so protect your space. I'm hearing cleanse your energy so that so that you may receive the downloads also that you need in order to make better decisions. All right, royal blood. You come from divine power and sacred legacy. All right, you are not here to play small. You're hold on, let's see what it says. You carry authenticity. All right, spiritual ancestral wisdom. You have a deep purpose in your bloodline. Walk like someone who remembers where they come from. All right, the golden throne. You sit boldly in the power that belongs to you. Reclaim your seat, boundaries, self respect, authority, standards, and no longer shrinking for others. All right, so Spirit wants you to walk in your power. Ancestral wealth is here. Prosperity flows through your bloodline, all right, and through your life. And then, all right, so you're calling in abundance, stability, success, inheritant energy, and breaking poverty patterns. Wealth is not separate from spirituality, all right. It can be sacred too because it depends on how you spend it and what you're doing with it. All right, God only blesses those who do His work. All right, and you can do His work in many ways because you can involve spirit in everything that you do. Spirit is and should be in everything that you do. All right, read the pattern. One moment can lie, but a pattern does not. All right, so pay attention when it comes to things like that. That card wasn't even supposed to be in there. So Spirit is asking you to pay attention because it's somebody around you that's not supposed to be there. All right, bloodline breaker. I end cycles that were never meant for me to continue. All right, some things you're walking away from because they were never meant to be in your life full term. All right, they were only supposed to be in your life because you were supposed to learn some shit. All right, powerful ancestral healing card. It comes to confirm generational healing, karmic closure, and spiritual liberation. You are the chosen one to break patterns and rewrite the story. All right, so you were meant to rewrite the story. And then I got divine beauty. I am sacred, radiant, worthy as I am. Beauty is spiritual too. You do not need to earn your worth. Your presence, your softness, and your glow and your uniqueness are holy. All right. So as long as you stay in that energy, everything that you're asking for, you're going going to receive. All right, let me pull these last cards. Let's see. Hold on. All right, hold on 1 second. All right, let's see about these. All right, the soul tie. All right, and this has everything to do with the people that you connect yourself to as well, because like I said, all of that can affect what you got going on. All right, all of that can affect it. A powerful, energetic bond. This card points to a connection that lingers deeply in your spirit. It can feel magnetic, difficult to forget, and emotional consuming, unhealthy, unattachment, karmic entanglement, or difficulty releasing someone who season has end. All right, so just make sure you are removing everybody that does not belong in this new chapter of your life. All right, you are not the same as you was last year. You are not the same as you was yesterday. All right, if you got to keep releasing people, don't feel bad about it. 9/11. All right, that talks about being a master manifester. All right, and you have to release a lot of motherfuckers when you are a master manifester, because you got so many people that know that you have a loving and giving soul, and they will definitely be around you to take from you. So be aware of that. Firstborn. All right, this card talks about responsibilities, pressures to carry. All right, so don't carry others. All right, carrying others will give you setbacks when it comes to your career and your financial state, because spirit know if spirit give you a lot, then it's gonna be people that's gonna be there asking, and then you'll be willing to give. So spirit wants to fix that, all of these things within you before you receive this great opportunity. Divine timing. All right, not yet, but not denied. All right, so spirit is clearing out everybody around you so that these blessings can come, and this is why you're seeing a lot of people that you're not dealing with anymore. All right, something may be delayed for your protection, growth, and alignment. This card asks for you to be patient and trust. All right, trying to force what is not ready or confusing delay with denial. All right, what is mine will always arrive at the right time. All right, so whatever is yours will always arrive exactly when it's supposed to. All right, it's never late, but it's always on time. All right, the Ankh of Destiny, divine life force, spiritual completion, and sacred alignment. This is the final blessing card of the deck. All right, this signifies alignment, purpose, divine protection, and a relationship lesson, or relationship a lesson or a chapter is reaching sacred understanding. All right, so you've learned a lot. All right, and now spirit can bless you because you know how to move forward. All right, you're not gonna allow people to take advantage of you either. All right, because you know how to deal with these people, because you worked on your boundaries. All right, you know what loyalty is, you know what betrayal looks like. All right, your standards are different. All right, which makes your power different. The golden cage, comfort without freedom. A connection may look beautiful on the outside, but feels restrictive. All right, on the no, feels restrictive behind the scenes. This can point to an emotional control, dependency, or staying for security. Being trapped by parents, money, or status, or fear of leaving. All right, I choose freedom over polished captivity. All right, and that comes with the job as well. All right, spirit. You're supposed to be in your career, not a job. A job is something that you have to do. A career, that is something that is a part of your purpose. So spirit is pushing you more in your purpose. All right, and out of a job. All right, because whatever you're getting ready to be doing is going to align with your purpose. All right, House of Spirits, and that talks about your destiny, intuition, soul ties, and divine timing, and spiritual truth. The Ankh destiny. All right, yeah. Again, spirit is getting ready to show you exactly what your next move is. All right, and House of Bloodline, the House of Divine, family conflict, separation, and emotional division. This card points out tension within the family system, emotional emotional distance or unresolved, conflicted current relationships. All right, and that can all affect your financial status. All right, you have to keep your heart open and pure in order for job opportunities to come your way, money opportunities to come your way, because you're manifesting all of that out of your heart space. So your heart space has to be open in order for you to receive, or you're not going to be able to receive. All right, the family name. Be careful in trying to follow the footsteps of family members. All right, follow your footsteps. All right, because the legacy starts with you. The family name came out again, so please do not go by the expectations that your family set by you. All right, you got your own expectations. The legacy, yeah, you setting your own legacy, and this is the last card. All right, you are building what you're leaving behind and teaching through love. This card reflects long-term impact. What kind of love, example, or emotional inheritance have you created now? All right, building from pain instead of purpose, or repeating what you said would change. All right. I create a legacy often healed in honest love. All right. So you are building your own legacy when it comes to love, money, and all of that. All right. But Spirit is saying keep your heart space open. All right. Stay away from people who wronged you. I'm not going to say forgive, because everybody don't choose to forgive, because I mean it's just how they operates. But moving forward is a form of forgiveness. Nobody has to tell you anything. All right, you don't have to tell anybody. You just move different. You be better. All right, and this is how you are calling in these things. All right, and this is your read.